top 100 solutions in the Africa versus virus challenge. And with regard of the same, we are receiving direct support and association from World Health Organization Arab and African region, as well as from African Development Bank. I have participated in various hackathons and won a few, namely Global COVID-19 Social and Mental Hackathon and AI for Development, which was dated back in 2020. So moving forward, let us discuss about this workshop. Now, all of you know what this workshop is about. That is why you people are here, right? But let me tell you the why behind the same, like why this workshop is being conducted. So the reason behind conducting this workshop is to kickstart your journey in the domain of Android application development. If you are someone who want to get into Android application development, then trust me, this is the right place for you. You will be able to build 2 applications, and if you are successfully able to understand each and every piece of code that we will be using in the application in these 2 days of workshop, you would be able to build any application, any Android application on a given problem statement. You just need to give your efforts, you just need to understand things, and we will be starting everything right from the beginning. Fine. So moving forward, let's discuss about the topics that would be covered in the session. So first of all, we will be discussing about introduction to Android development as part of software development. You know, software development is something like an ocean. It's very, very dynamic. So we will be discussing about the subdomain of Android development and software development. Then comes working of the Android Studio, the platform that we will be using to build our Android applications. Then comes the layout and XML code. It is the code, or XML is the language that we make use of in order to write the front end part of our application. Then comes the basic Java code. It is used for the backend. Then comes Android Toast. Android Toast is something that we make use of in order to provide a short alert message to the user. Like if a user has made a mistake, then the error would be visible over it. If the user has made a payment, then the confirmation message would be visible with the help of this toast. Then comes Android Intent. Now, Android Intent is something which is very, very important in Android, because no matter what level of application you are dealing with, whether it's a personal project or it's an industry level application, intents are something that is very basic, because intent is that thing which helps you to navigate from one screen of your application to the next screen, right? So after discussing all these topics, we would be able to build our very first application, that is the Celebrate app. Fine. So I am very excited. Let me know about from the audience also that you people are excited or not. So just for an acknowledgement, just drop some comments in the comment box so that I would be able to see that how excited the audience is. You can write fire in the comment box. All right. Ayush is excited. Vishal is excited. Thanks a lot. Yes. All right. So let's start with the very first topic, that is software development and the subdomain of Android development into it. So, you know, software development is not only about writing some lines of code in order to build a program or something. Software development is very, very dynamic in nature. And this software development could be defined as a solution that we provide with the help of technology. Like we human beings are we encounter many problems on a daily or a weekly basis, right? So in order to solve those problems with the help of technology, we have this thing called software development. Then under the domain of the software development, depending on the platforms, we have Android development, web development, desktop app development. Fine. Now hardware is something which is again another domain entirely different from software development, but yes, we do have something in intersection of software development and hardware development, that is the IoT device. So it is again another factor. What we will be dealing with will be Android development, which is very, very significant in today's era. Any business that begins, it has its website, no doubt, but in order to make applications handy, we make use of Android development, right? So that was pretty much about it. Then comes Android application. You know, not only Android application, but any application that we make use of, it is based on GUI, that is graphical user interface. GUI consists of two things. One will be the graphical visuals, that is the layout, and one will be the backend functionality. In case of Android, the front end part consists of this XML code, and the backend part consists of Java or Kotlin. As it was your question, very common question right from the very beginning, that we will be using Java or Kotlin, right? So yes, we will be using Java. Telling you this thing again, that we will be using Java. Kotlin is the language that is used in Android development for industry level application. And as we are students now, I would be suggesting you to start with Java, because Java will be helping you from multiple aspects. It's a very dynamic and robust language. So that is why we will be, under the scope of this project, we will be using Java for the backend. Now for the front end, that is the layout part of our Android application, we have something which is called as XML code. XML stands for Extensible Markup Language. So if any one of you belong to the domain of web development, you must be knowing that in web development, the front end language we use is HTML. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. So both of these things, Hypertext Markup Language and this Extensible Markup Language, are subderivatives of markup language, this ML. So what do we mean by markup language then? Markup language consists of certain tags and their respective attributes, where each and every tag would be nested inside each other. And each tag will correspond to an element in Android, as we have in case of like HTML. Fine. So now we are all ready. After this introduction part, we are all ready to jump straight into the implementation, because we will be learning as we will be making our application, right? So I'm assuming that all of you do have Android Studios installed in your systems. So just give me a confirmation over here that any one of you is not facing any issue in case of Android developer, like the Android Studio. It is installed for all of you, right? All right, getting some confirmations. Fine. So people, please do open your Android Studio. I have mine already opened over here. So you will be getting an interface like this. Here you can see this very thing, that is create new project. Click on create new project, because we will be building everything right from the scratch. After clicking on create new project, you will be getting an interface like this. Click on empty activity. These are certain different activities. We want to have a very simple one initially, so that is why we will be making use of this empty activity. After selecting empty activity, click on this next button. Now provide the name of your application. So the name of our app is Celebrate. Fine. Then here we have our package name. Package name could be anything, and the syntax for package name is com.workshop.celebrate. This is something that I have added for myself. You can give any package name like com.yournamexyz.celebrate. Like celebrate would be adding up automatically. Then we have the location for where the app would be saved in your system. Then the language, use Java. Then we have something called as minimum SDK. In minimum SDK, you need to select the version of Android that you will be using. That is API 21, Android version 5.0, Lollipop. Now you may ask that what does this API and this Android version stands for? API refers to Application Programming Interface. And for the scope of this project, we will be using API level 21. Every API has a corresponding version of Android. So the version of Android that is equivalent to API 21 is 5.0, which is Lollipop. We have different versions like Marshmallow, Oreo, Pie, KitKat for our for the Android applications. So you can see a message that is coming over here that your app will run on approximately 94.1% of the devices according to the selected minimum SDK. After finishing all these things, click on this finish button.
Hello, Tisha, sorry to disturb you.
Yes.
There are some queries in the chat section as well, so I would recommend you to also look at them meanwhile while you are going through it. Okay.
Yes, I'm able to see it. Aniket is asking which activity we have to select. You need to select the empty activity. Is it fine with Aniket? All right. Yes, empty activity, you can assume that empty activity means no activity. You can assume it. So meanwhile, you can see that my application is Android Studio is loading, and here you can see that the Gradle build is taking place. Now, people, to make sure that you are like connected to a strong internet at this point of time, because if not, then this Gradle build will not take place properly, and you need a strong internet connection at this point of time. Vignesh is telling, I am unable to change from Kotlin to Java from drop down box. It should be possible, Vignesh. You can try doing it once more by clicking the interface, I guess. Fine. So the Gradle build has taken place already. So I hope that all of you have reached till this point of time, and you are able to get this Hello World application. In any programming language, we first start with the Hello World program. So this is your Hello World application for your Android application, right? Where we have a simple screen and this text Hello World. So meanwhile, we are waiting for all of you to just reach at this point of time. If you have a strong internet connectivity, then it would be easy for you to reach here easily. If your Android Studio is not working, then you must be having a poor internet connectivity. It's done for Ritik. Yes, Rizwan, it depends on the RAM also. Fine. So now on the left hand side of the Android Studio, you must be able to see that there are different folders. We have this app and we have Gradle scripts. Inside this app, you must be able to see three subfolders. That is manifest folder, Java folder, and this resources folder. Now go in this manifest folder. Inside manifest folder, we have Android manifest.xml. Now you may ask what this Android manifest.xml stands for. So this Android manifest.xml is a file that deals with all permissions and the basic functionalities and features of our application. So let's suppose that you are dealing with an music player app. So in case of a music player app, we deal with many functionalities like the use of internet, use of media player, use of your audio devices of your operating system, right? So Android manifest take care of all the permissions. Then here we have label. Label tells you the name of your application, that is Celebrate. Then we have this launcher icons. Launcher icons are those icons which you will be able to see on your mobile phone once the app is being installed. So these are the important stuff that is being taken care by the Android manifest.xml, right? Now come to this Java. Inside Java folder, you would be able to see this package name com.workshop.celebrate that was being assigned at the very initial point. Inside this package name, you would be able to see main activity. And in main activity, we have this backend code. As I said over here, that main activity is something that deals with the backend part. And the extension for it is .java if you're dealing with Java, and it would be .kt if you're dealing with Kotlin. Fine. Then we do have resources. Now resources is a very important folder in case of Android Studio. It contains list of all the resources that we will be having. So inside resources, there are 4 subfolders. We have drawable, we have layout, we have map, we have values. So open drawable. Inside drawable, you would be able to see these icons. So drawable is that folder that keeps all the icons, images, and logos that you will be using in your application, which would be mainly in the extension of JPG or PNG. and MipMap is something which is similar to drawable. Then we do have layout. Inside layout, we have activity main.xml. So as I said that XML is the code which takes care of the front end part. So we have this extension activity main.xml for the front end. After that, we do have values. Inside values, we have colors.xml and strings.xml. Now this colors.xml is something which is very, very important again. Colors.xml keeps track of all the significant colors that we will be making use in our application. So we mainly have three colors called color primary dark, and the color accent. Let me show you. Here we have this color primary dark, and color accent. So color primary is something that assigns the color of your toolbar. This is your toolbar, right? And color primary is something that assigns the color of the toolbar. Then we have color primary dark. Color primary dark is something that assigns the color of the status bar. Now, you must have observed that in the latest version of WhatsApp, the color of the status bar, this narrow horizontal portion over here, is black in the latest version of WhatsApp. In case of Paytm, the latest version of Paytm, the color of the status bar is white. So in those applications, the color that they are using is the color primary dark. To regulate the status bar color, we have color primary dark. To regulate the color of the toolbar, we have color primary. And to deal with the miscellaneous stuff like the navigation bar and the text color, we have this color accent, which could be treated as a secondary color of our application, right? So this was all about colors.xml. So for our project, let us set up colors of our choice. Let's not make it default. Let's choose green color. So I would suggest all of you to suggest colors, your favorite colors in this color codes. You will be getting multiple options over here. So I am selecting different versions of green for my application. You can select any color that you prefer. All right. So we have selected this green color for color primary dark, and color accent. So everything in our application will consist of this green color, which has this hexadecimal code over here. All right. After that, inside values, we have this strings.xml. Now, what does this strings.xml file stands for? The strings.xml file consists of the strings that we will be using in our application. Why do we need this strings.xml? The reason behind having this strings.xml is that, let's suppose I'm a native speaker and I don't understand a language in which the application is written. So in order to access this functionality of translation, I will be clicking on a button called translate, and the app would be entirely translate into my language, let's suppose Hindi. So how it is possible? It is possible because the strings that we are going to use in the application would be stored here. So translation will be automatically taking place. For that, only this collection of strings would be translated to a different language, whatever language of your choice you want to find in the application. So that was pretty much about the project structure of Android Studio. Let's summarize everything that we have spoken. Inside app, you must be able to see this manifest. Inside manifest, we have android.xml. Inside Java, you would be able to see main activity.java. Inside resources, we have drawable, MipMap, layout, and values. Drawable and MipMap takes care of the images, logos, icons of our application. Layout is something that deals with the front end part of our application. Values, inside values folder, we have colors.xml and strings.xml. Fine. So let's start with the front end part now. So I am in the, you can notice that I am in the split portion. You can navigate entirely to the code, or you can navigate entirely to the design, or you can be in the split portion. So I'm using split portion. Now over here, you must be able to see this panel light stuff. Fine. So we will be dragging and dropping every widgets that would be required over here. So first of all, let's remove this default thing that we do have over here, this hello world text. Fine. So what we will be doing, we will be making a celebrate application where you will be entering the name of your friend and a greeting card for your friend will be opening up, right? So at this point of time, would recommend all of you to just follow the steps. one by one, and then I will be explaining you once the layout is like formed. So first of all, take this text view from here, drag and drop it right here. So you will be able to see that the changes are being made, like the changes that you are doing in the design side would be automatically simultaneously taking place on the code as well, right? So drag and drop this text view. After that, we will be using an edit text. So all these are widgets, you know. Widgets are something that are that have a responding element. So go to this text and then select plain text in order to have this edit view. Repeating this thing again, in order to select this edit text, the code you can see over here, you need to go inside text, select the plain text, drag and drop it over here. Fine. After that, go into buttons. Select this button widget, drag and drop it over here. So for the button, you could be able to see that the color is green. Why the color is green? Because we have set the color with a similar hexadecimal code. We aren't using any default colors that were previously. We have set the colors as green. Fine. So guys, just give me a confirmation whether all of us are on the same page or not in the chat box. Whether you were able to drag and drop these things accordingly or not. The text view, the edit text, and the button. So it's a yes from Ritik, Vishal, Naval, Keshav. All right, fine. So all of you are able to do it. Now you can see that some error are appearing over here in the text view, in the edit text. So what does these errors stand for? Just hover over these this portion where this error is appearing. You can see what message it is showing. It is telling that this view is not constrained. It only has design time positions, so it will jump to 0, 0 at runtime unless you add the constraints. Now what does this thing mean? Whatever we are doing, you know, these are the design time positions. Once the application would be compiled by this Android Studio and the compiler that is being used, it will be jumping to these coordinates, that is 0, 0 at runtime. Fine. So we need to constrain it. Now what do we mean by constraining? By constraining, we mean that we need to provide the respective like relative position to each and every widget. What is the position of this widget text view with respect to edit text? What is the position of this edit text with respect to this button, and likewise? Why we need to do this? Because we are making use of this constraint layout over here, and in case of constraint layout, you always need to provide constraint to your items, whatever widgets you are using. So in order to constrain it, go into this design portion and select the item which you want to constrain. Select this over here and constrain it like this. So you can see the changes that would be made accordingly in the code part also. So I've constrained the left portion of text view with this parent. So you can see that change in the code as well, that the constraint has been set up, that is the start to the start of the parent. This was the start of the text view, right? So it has been constrained with the start of the parent. Constrain the end of the text view with the end of the parent. You can see the code here. Constrain end to the end of parent. Constrain the top to the top of parent. You would be able to see constrain top to the top of parent. Then comes the bottom. Constrain this bottom portion of your text view with the top portion of edit text, right? Repeating this thing again, you need to constrain the bottom portion of the text view with the top of your edit text. This is the constraint. Constrain bottom to the top of your edit text. Fine. So this is being constrained. So you can see the moment we have constrained it, the error has been gone from the text, right? So we need to do the same thing with edit text also. Constrain the start with the start of parent. Constrain the end with the end of parent. Then constrain the bottom of the edit text with the top of the button. Fine. So the moment edit text has been constrained, likewise, the error has gone. And you can observe one more thing, that the margin, a bottom margin is appearing over here, this thing in the attribute, that is 448 dp. So this is the margin in between the bottom constraint, that is button and your edit text, the bottom margin 248 dp. Then constrain this button, start to the start of parent, end to the end of parent, bottom to the bottom of parent. And align it likewise. Fine. So you can see now that the error, there is no error message in edit, in your text view, edit text, or even in your button, because we have constrained all these elements, right? And why we did this? Because we are making use of this parent tag. I said at the very initial point of time that parent tag is something that holds this capability of nesting other tags. So the parent tag that we are making use of over here is constraint layout. Inside constraint layout, these sub tags are there. Fine. And then this tag, this parent tag, has been closed over here. So the constraint has taken place. Now this text view, you need to provide text to your text view. So let's code this portion. Write text. In the text section, we will be writing happy birthday to my friend. Fine. So you can see the text is appearing over here. Happy birthday to my friend. Now let us provide some styling to this text. Right here in the attribute text color. Inside text color, let's provide this purple 500. Go in the colors and see what purple 500 was. It was the green color, right? Purple 500. So you can see the color of the text that is appearing. It's green color. Let's increase the font size a bit. For that, use text size. We'll be using 25 SP. Now a question may arise over here that what are these things SP and DP? Because we are making use of SP and DP, we have made use of DP everywhere. So SP and DP are abstract and virtual units that we make use in Android. SP stands for scale independent pixel and DP stands for density independent pixel. And both of these are something which allow us to maintain a sync in between different devices. For the text, we make use of SP. For the like image and stuff, we make use of DP. Let's suppose that you are a rich person out there, so you are using an iPhone, and I'm a poor person. I have an Android mobile application with a very small size of the screen, right? So in order to maintain a sync, that things would be like looking similar in all different devices. Different devices means devices of different size. The things need to be look similar. So for that, we make use of these independent units, that is SP and DP. So that for you who is owning an iPhone and for me who is owning a simple Android application with different screen sizes, things will be appearing in the same size, like the widget and everything. Fine. So these are the units SP and DP. Many people do this mistake that they use it interchangeably. For text, we use SP. For images and these borders, we make use of DP. All right. Then come to this this portion. Yes, we need to provide a little bit of style to our text. Again, go on text style. So there are three options: italic, bold, and normal. Choose italic and see the changes over here in the font. Then come to this edit text. Inside edit text, this text is appearing. We don't want a text. Instead of this text, we want to ask our user to enter the name of his or her friend whom he or she want to wish happy birthday or send a greeting, right? So for that, we will be making use of hint. So hint will be something that will be appearing in a lighter version. So right over here in the hint, enter your friend's name. So you can see that a lighter version of the text is coming. Enter your friend's name because it's a hint in the edit text. Now inside this button, we have this text written button. Let's change this text of button to wish, because when this button would be clicked, we would be able to wish the person whose name is written over here. Fine. So this was all about the design. So now guys, just give me a confirmation over here that you people were able to achieve a very similar layout like this and not facing any issue. If you are done, then do write done in the comment box. So it's a done from Vishal and Ritik, Naval, Vibhu, Keshav as well. But why I am looking at these similar names every time? Where are other people? If you are facing any trouble, then please do let me know. You can write it in the chat box. All right. Vishaka is telling, please repeat the few last steps. Could you be more specific which last steps you're talking about, Vishaka? Okay, let me summarize it. If you people are having doubt, let me summarize it. Ashish and Vishaka. So what we did, you need to drag and drop every widget, right? First of all, we used this text view over here. You need to pick up this text view, drag and drop it over here. Then go inside this text, pick up this plain text, drag and drop over here. Then go inside buttons, pick up this button, drag and drop over here. Fine. And then you need to constrain your elements to the start, end, top and bottom. Is it clear for Ashish and Vishaka? I hope it's clear. All right. All right. So let's move forward. Now, what we want our app, this button to do. What are the next steps to proceed? You know, over here in on clicking this button, wish, we want two things to execute. First one would be a toast message would be appearing. Next one is you will be navigating to a different activity, right? So for adding a functionality to this button, as I said, that every graphical visual of your application would be performing some or the other kind of function. So in order to add functionality for this button, you need to code something here over here inside this button tag, right? We will be using another attribute. So go inside the button tag and use this attribute called onClick. Right, just write ON and you would be able to see onClick. Doing this again for you. Right, ON, and in the very first option, onClick is coming. Click on this onClick. Now, onClick is that attribute of the button tag which would enable you to add the functionality. Now, what you need to provide, what would be the value of this attribute onClick? The value of this attribute onClick will be the name of the function that will be executing when this button would be clicked. Fine. So let's give name of this function clicked. I'm calling this function as clicked. This clicked function would be executed when this button would be clicked. Fine. Now you can see again that an error is coming over here. Just hover over it and see what this error is standing for. It is saying that corresponding method handler public void clicked not found. So what does this error mean? That corresponding method handler public void clicked is not found. It is telling you that yes, the function has been made, no doubt, but the compiler is not able to find the function. Where does the function is? What code does the function need to perform, right? So in order to solve this error, go over here, this bulb-like icon, and you will be getting an option, create click view. You would be able to in the main activity. So you will be able to create this function by clicking on this button. You would be able to create a function in your main activity. This one, main activity.java. So click on this create clicked view in main activity. So once I had clicked over there, you can see that now a public void function called clicked has been created in your main activity.java. All right. I hope that all of you are able to reach at this point. Fine. Okay. Cool. So now, as I said that this function would be performing two things, toast and navigation. So whatever code we will be writing inside this function, that code will be executed whenever this button wish is clicked. Fine. So we'll be doing two things, that is toast and next is navigation from one screen to another. Fine. Now before doing that, we need to perform a very important task over here. What it is, these widgets, edit text, text view and button, these widgets are something that are known by the front end only. The backend doesn't know that these widgets exist. So you need to make aware your backend as well that yes, these two widgets do exist. For that, we have our class over here, right? Public class main activity, which extends app compact activity. So these are this public and protected. Those people who don't know Java or are new to programming this programming language Java, let me tell you that this public and protected stands for the access modifiers, like what kind of visibility your class or your functions do have. So if it is public, if any class or anything is public, then it would be visible to all the classes within a package. What do I mean? Like this is a package, at the very like top portion, you are able to see the package name. So this is a single package. Inside this package, we can have various classes, right? And for those various classes, if any class is declared as public, all classes inside this package or any other package would be able to access this class called main activity. Fine. Then we have for this function on create, we have protected. All right. So what I was telling, yes. So we need to we need to make the backend aware of the widgets that we do have. So we have three widgets right over here. Our edit text and text view and button. So write text view, edit text, then your button. Fine. So for edit text, these are the data type. We need to assign a variable that, okay, this variable is something that has the data type text view. So let's call this variable as text. Fine. So text is a variable that is of type text view. If you're getting an error message like this for the edit text, click Alt plus Enter. And then you will be getting an option like import class. Then it would be imported over here. This is a widget that would be imported. Every widget that we are using would be imported into our package. Fine. So we have imported edit text successfully. Give it a name. Let us call it input, because we need to take the input from the user. Then for the button, let's call it BTN. Fine. So I hope that all of you are following me up to this point of time. So this is the declaration of the widgets. We are making declaration of the widgets. So where you are making declaration just after this class. like the first parenthesis of the classes over here. Then you need to initialize it. These are what this text input and btn are something which are empty slots. You need to fill these slots with something. So for that you need to initialize it. You need to initialize it. For initialization, take this empty slots, that is text. Text was an empty slot, right? Then with the help of this assignment operator equal to, assign it by making use of this function called find view by id with semicolon. Now what does this function find view by id stand for? This function find view by id is something that fetches the view with respect to the id. Like these are all views that we have over here for our front end, right? So the respective view will be fetched by the backend with respect to the id. So for that we have this function find view by id. Inside this function we need to provide the id with the help of which your view would be fetched. For that you need to write r.id dot, then the name of your id that you had for the text. So we are writing r.id dot, the name of the text. So go over here and see whatever was the name of your text view id. The name was text view. You can see the id over here. For text view widget, the name of the id was text view, right? So write text view. Here it is coming. So we will be doing the same thing for input as well. Input assignment operator equal to find view by id colon r.id dot name of this id. See, for the edit text, what was the name of the id? We have this huge name, that is edit text person name. Assign it. Edit text person name for the input. Then go to this btn, assign it with find view by id, put a colon r.id dot button, because for the widget button we had the name of the id as button only. Fine. So guys, do give me a very quick confirmation that whether all of you were able to understand the code up to this part and were able to follow me till this point. All right. Karthik is having a question. What does view in clicked function refer to? Button itself or some view? Yes, very nice question. You know the view that you have noticed over here in the click function, the view over here. This view stands for the view for which the function has made. So it stands for the button. You said it right. It stands for the button. This view is an input for this function. Is a parameter for this function, and it stands for the button only. Vishal is saying that text view has no import options. You must be getting an import option for text view. You must be getting, and if not, then I guess that your Gradle build was not like taken place properly. If your people are facing the same problem, goes for Ashish also. So if your people are facing error with text view, you can do one thing: try importing it manually. Import Android, right? Import Android dot widget text view. Try to do this. If text view is not visible in the imports, then try to do this. If we are writing the code in Java, then why is the extension .kt and why the language you have selected is KT? if it is not working for you, Vishal, then you can you can close this Android Studio and then reopen it. In that case, give sufficient time and make sure that you do have a strong internet connectivity so that the Gradle build process will be taking place properly. Then you would be able to do it. For those people who are not able to get the text view. Fine. So I guess for the rest of the people, they are able to follow me up to this point. Now, inside this clicked function, I said that we need to perform two functions. I said that toast and navigation from one screen to another screen. So we will be writing the code for the toast. For toast, write TOAST. You will be able to see it coming in the recommendation. So just click on it, toast. Then import, you can see that the respective import has taken place automatically over here. After you have this visit toast over here, write dot make text. Again, recommendation is coming, make text. Fine. Now, with toast, we have this associated function called make text. This function will be taking 3 parameters. Fine. The very first parameter would be telling this function that the toast would be visible in which activity. So you need to make the toast visible in this activity only, this main activity.java. So for making it visible in this activity, use the parameter this. So this is a keyword that we have in Java. This parameter is telling that the toast will be appearing in this activity only, this main activity.java. Fine. So this will be the first parameter. After that, second parameter would be a string. In order to give a string, provide colons like this, and then write the string that you want to display when the button would be clicked. So I'm writing button is clicked. As I said, that toast are something which gives a confirmation or an error to the user, right? Like if you are using Paytm, so you might be able to see that that an alert occurs when your payment is confirmed. So it occurs for a short duration of time only. So we are able to achieve it with the help of toast. After that, add the third parameter, which would be the duration. For duration, add length short, right? Capital L. Once you have written capital L, you would be able to see 2 recommendations, length short and length long. For length short, it is equivalent to 0, length long is equivalent to 1. So we will be using length short. Using length short will mean that it will be appearing for a shorter duration only. Use length short. Then write dot show. So now your toast has been completed. The text for your toast is completed now. Fine. So let me repeat the code for this toast, what we have done. Write toast over here, make use of this visit toast. After that, write dot make text. This is a function. Inside this function, provide 3 parameters. First parameter will tell the name of the activity in which the toast would be displayed. So the activity is this. Next parameter will tell about the string that would be displayed. The third parameter will tell about the duration for which it would be displayed. Fine. And then use this dot show. It is important. Sometimes we forget about this dot show. It is also important. Otherwise, it would be an incomplete one. Fine. So this was the code that we needed for toast. Now let's move to navigation part. The code for the navigation, that is navigate from one screen to another. Now you may ask this question that I'm telling repeatedly that you will be navigating from one screen to another. Now where does this next screen is? Because I said that one screen, which is called as an activity, consists of 2 things, right? So we have one screen which consists of this XML and Java. So you may ask, where is the second screen to which we will be navigating? So this is a very genuine question. So in order to have that second screen, you need to make another activity. In Android, we call every activity, we call every screen as an activity. So you need to make an activity. For that, go inside this file. go in this new, then jump to this activity. Over here you would be able to see basic activity, empty activity, and then choose this empty activity. Repeating these steps again, go to file, go to new, go to activity, choose empty activity, right? Now an interface like this will be appearing after choosing empty activity. Provide me name of your activity. Let me call it as second. For the name of the activity, do make sure that it starts with a capital letter, because it would be the name of your class as well, and name of the class in Java always starts with a capital letter. So the name of your activity should begin with a capital letter. I'm calling my activity as second, and make this thing true. This checkbox should be true, which says that generate a layout file. If this is not being selected, then you won't be getting the respective layout file for the scene. Fine. And this should not be the launcher activity. Package name is this, and the language is Java. So do follow all these steps and don't make any mistake at this point of time. Otherwise, you won't be able to achieve the task. Generate a layout file should be selected, and the name of your activity, whatever you are giving, it should be starting. It must start with the capital letter. After selecting all these and making sure that everything is right, click on this finish button. Now you can see that we are now able to get the next screen, that is next activity to which we will be navigating. This is the next activity, and for this activity we again have this XML and Java files. So come again to this main activity.java. Inside main activity.java, we were at this click function, right? So we need to navigate from one screen to another. Now at the very initial phase, I said that for navigation we make use of intents, right? So write INTE, will be getting this again, that is intent. This recommendation again, intent. INTE, intent. Then provide a name to it. I am telling it as I. So I is an intent. I is a variable name and intent is the type of this variable I. Then assign I with something, like new intent, right? Into it. Now this will be the basic thing for our intent. Intent I, assignment operator equal to new intent. Now what are the parameters that you need to provide to intent? So as I said, that intent is something that would be able to navigate you from one screen to another. So inside intent you need to provide two parameters. The first parameter would be your source screen, source activity, and the next parameter would be your destination activity. So again, the source activity is what? Main activity.java. So over here write this, as we did over here. In the toast also we write this right? First one would be this, the source activity, and then which activity you want to navigate to. You want to navigate to the second activity, right? So in the second parameter, write second dot class, and second dot class. After that, if you are able to follow me up to this point of time, then do give a confirmation. So to make sure that all of us are on the same page, write done or something in the chat box, people. It's a yes for Vignesh, Jaya, Ritik. Fine. Now, for I, I is the intent. For this intent I, we need to give something that is intent, this navigation from this screen, main activity.java, to the second screen, second.java, will be taking with itself. This intent I will be taking something with itself. Now what it will be taking? over here we have asked our user, right, to enter the name of the person, the name of the friend to which he or she want to wish or send the greeting to. So this is the input, and this particular name, whatever the user will be entering, will be shared to this next activity, second.java. Fine. So you need to fetch it, you need to fetch that information, and then you need to send it. So for that, write I dot put extra. What does this put extra tells you? In the first recommendation, you would be able to see put extra. This is a method for intent, put extra. So put extra will be sending an extra information with the intent. Intent is there, no doubt, but it will be having an extra information. It will be taking an extra piece of information with itself. And what that extra piece of information is, it is this input that we have received from the user. Now, where that input is, you need to fetch that input first of all, because we haven't fetched that input. That input is here, edit text or edit text input, right? So you need to fetch it. For fetching it, right, input dot get text, because input was an edit text, right, where the text would be written by the user. So we want to fetch that text. For fetching that text, we have this function called get text. So we are making use of get text. After get text, write toString. So once we have fetched the text, we are converting it into toString. Fine. Now we need to store it somewhere. We have received the text till this point of time. We have converted the text into a string, but we need to store it somewhere. In order to store it, we will be like, after all, we are getting a string, right? So we will be like string, call it S, and assign it. So you can see that on the right hand side we are having this string, right, and on the left hand side we are having this variable which is again of type string. So the left hand side and right hand side is now balanced. S is a variable of data type string which is taking this as an input with the help of assignment operator equal to. All right. So this S is the string that we have received from our user. So this is the same thing that we need to send to the next activity inside this put extra. So be like I dot put extra S. Yes, put extra. Inside put extra, this function put extra is always present in the form of key value pairs, right? So you need to provide key as well as the value. How you can provide the key? Key is nothing but a string of your choice, any string of your choice. So for string, we will be making use of this thing and then provide the key to your value. So let's call this key friend, because after all it's the name, it will be the name of your friend only, right? So this key could be anything. The first parameter for put extra is key. After that, provide the value, the respective value. So what is the value? S, right? So we have this key value pair. This is the key friend and this is the value S that we are sending to our next activity, this second activity, with the help of this intent I. Fine. So this was the code for the main activity.java. So up to this point of time, if any one of you is facing any error, then please do drop it in the comment box, and if not, then give a confirmation that yes, this main activity has been done, because this is the only code that we wanted for the main activity. Okay, so it's done from Ankit, Ritik, Suraj. Fine. So now, since the code for this main activity is completed, now let's move to the second activity. So first deal with the layout of the second activity. Go into the split again so that we will be making the changes in the design and would be able to see the like the code part accordingly. So for that, again open this panel over here so that you would be able to drag and drop things. So now in the second activity, what do we want in the second activity? Inside the second activity, we want that image will be appearing, which would be a greeting card for our friend, and a text view will be appearing, right? So do tell me that in which folder we were storing our images. To write it in the comment box, in which folder we were storing our images. This is something that I told at very first point of time. Yes, drawable. But how to reach drawable? It was inside drawables. Yes, resources. Yes, Karthik said. Fine, resources. Yes. So resources is that very file which deals with the drawable part. So inside app, go inside resources. Inside resources, go to this drawable folder. Now you need to provide an image of your choice to this drawable. So I do have an greeting installed already, like downloaded already. You can download one from Google or from any other source. I do have this birthday image which is being downloaded already. So what I need to do, or after downloading this greeting or any image from Google, you need to pick it up from the respective location wherever it is in your system. Pick it up and drag and drop it in the drawable folder. Fine. Then an option like this would be appearing. Click on refactor. Yes. So now you can see that this birthday greeting has been added to our resources. Fine. Now after that, pick up this image view from here. Drag and drop it. Now pick a resource. This kind of interface for pick a resource will be appearing. Inside pick a resource, these are some common ones, default ones. But what we will be using? We will be using the resource that we have entered, like we have put in for our application, birthday. This resource, you can see the location. It is inside this drawable. Select this birthday, click on OK. Yes. So now you can see that this particular image has been selected. Now what are the changes in the code? See, inside the code we do have this attribute called SRC. So SRC is that attribute which deals with the like the location of our image. So SRC is having this drawable birthday, right? So you can accomplish the same thing, this thing which we are doing by dragging and dropping the widgets by attributes inside the code. Now you need to again constrain it, because you will be able to see the same error again because these elements are not this widget is not being constrained. So constrain the start to the start of parent like this, constrain the end to the end of parent like this, constrain the top to the top of parent like this. Fine. Now provide margins, margin right as 0 dp, margin left as 0 dp again, margin top as 0 dp. Margin top has been assigned as 16. Let's make it 0. Now this question may be arising in your mind that what is the advantage of giving margins as zero everywhere? Like what does this zero stands for? So zero means that the constraints that you have provided, the constraints, the widget that you do have, that widget will be overlapping with the constraint. So the margin, the widget, the constraint that we have provided for the top is the parent, right? So it will be overlapping with the constraint, that is with the parent. We have provided the margin left with zero, right? So it will be overlapping with the constraint. We have provided margin right with zero, so it would be overlapping with the constraint again. Fine. So we did this. We have written this piece of code in order to make it overlapping to the parent, the boundaries of the parent, right? Now, after this greeting, we need to write a piece of code over here. So for displaying a piece of code, sorry, a piece of text over here. Now for displaying a piece of text, you need to drag and drop which widget? Text view, because text view is something that will be displaying the text simply. Fine, so we have dragged and dropped this text view, right? Then provide constraint to this text view also. Start to the start of parent, end to the end of parent, bottom to the bottom of parent. Yes, top to the bottom of your image view. Fine. So we have constrained the starting with the parent, we have constrained the ending part with the parent, constrained the bottom with the parent as well. But the top portion of the text view is being constrained with the bottom portion of this image view. So you can see over here where it is. Yes, the top constraint top is being constrained. Is being constrained with the bottom of your image view, and you are able to assign the ID of the image view over here. Fine. So it has been constrained. Now we will be removing this text from here because the text would be provided via the backend inside this thing. So no need of providing the text over here. But yes, provide the styling to the text, right? Text style, give it italics, text size, make it 25 sp, text color, let's make it black. So this was all about the layout of our second activity. This greeting card would be opening, and over here the name of your friend along with the text would be displayed. Now how many of you were able to achieve this, the layout of this second activity? You may give a confirmation by writing done. Okay. So Ritik is always the first one. I guess he's moving forward. Jaya, Vishal, good. Ankit is writing done. Fine. Cool. But again, I can see the same names. What about the rest of the participants? I want the response from everyone. Ayushi. Fine. So I hope that you were able to successfully download an image and then drop it in the drawable folder as well, because this is very important. After that, the front end has been done for the second activity. Now let's move to the back end of the second activity. Now in the back end, what step did we follow for this main activity? We introduced the widgets to the back end, right? The widgets that are over there, present over there in the front end, we need to introduce the back end that, okay, these are the widgets. So inside this class, right, introduce these widgets. So what are the widgets that we do have? We have image view and text view. So write image view and your text view over here. Again, assign variables to them. For image view, let's say it is img. For text view, let's say it is uh, output, because it will be displaying something, text view. Now, what we did in the main activity after this declaration inside like this class, inside we have gone into the this particular function, that is on create. Inside on create, whatever we have declared over here, we need to initialize it inside on create. So come in inside this on create function, and then assign the views, right? Image is equal to find view by id. In what we need to provide, we need to provide the id with respect to which we will be getting the view. So write r.id dot the name of the id. What is the name of the image? Let's see. It is image view. And from the same thing for output as well. Output is equal to find view by id. Right, r.id dot id dot the id that we have for our text view. What is the id? It's text view 2. So write it as text view 2. Fine. So we have declared it inside the class and we have initialized it inside this onCreate method. All right. Now, this onCreate method that we have over here with this protected access specifier. What does this onCreate method stands for? Whenever any screen or any activity is being initiated, it automatically executes, or the compiler, it immediately executes this code, whatever is written inside this onCreate method. It will be called implicitly. Like in this main activity.java, this code was being executed when we were clicking on the button, right? When this button was being clicked. But the code inside onCreate will be something that would be executed automatically when the application would be created, as the name suggests, onCreate. But this would be executed when we will be clicking on the application. So for this activity, whatever piece of code we are writing over here, this will be automatically executed. So now for this second activity, we want to display a text message along with the name of a friend that was being sent over here with the help of this intent. Like with the help of this intent, you sent the name of your friend, right? Friend in the form of key value pairs. So you need to receive that in whatever you have sent. So for receiving it, you need to make use of a function called get intent, right? GET you will be getting in the very first recommendation, get intent. So get intent is what? Get intent is a function that fetches the intent because of which the activity was being started. So this activity, the second activity, was being started because of which intent? This intent over here in the main activity.java, this intent I over here, right? So this intent I would be fetched automatically with the help of this function called get intent. So we have received I with the help of this function called get intent. After that, by getting get intent, right, get string extra. Why string extra? Because what we send from the main activity, we have send a string, right? The name of the friend was in the format of a string, this string. So we want to receive the same string over here. In order to receive it, you would be providing the key. Did you remember the key that we place over here, the key? So if you know about the concept of hash node is something that stores the value in the form of key value pairs. Like if you know the key for anything, then you would be able to fetch the respective value for it. So over here we are doing the same thing. We made use of the key and we will be fetching the value s with the help of this key only, right? So the key that we made use of was friend. So write friend over here. Put semicolon. Fine. So what we did over here with intent, I had put extra, and over here while we are receiving whatever was being sent by the main activity, we are making use of this function get string extra. Fine. Now this will be fetching ultimately what this will be fetching. It will be fetching a string, right? So we need to store this string somewhere. For that, make use of this string data type and a variable, let's call this variable display, and with the help of assignment operator assign it. So this will be your string, your data type string. Inside string, declare this variable display, assign it like this, then get intent, get the intent, fetch the string with the help of this key. Fine. After that, you need to display it, right? So you need to display it where? Go into in this layout. In this layout, we do have this image view. Below this image view, we want to display the text over here, right? So in order to display the text, you need to make use of this text view variable that was output, right? So make use of this text view variable which was output, then make use of this function set text. Set text is a function which, as the name suggests, represents the text whatever would be written inside it. Now what text you want to display? What text you want to display? You want to display this text display only, right? Which is of the format, which is of the data type string. Do write display inside it. That is the name of your friend would be displayed. Now along with the name of your friend, let us add a message. Let us add a message. The message would be happy birthday to you. After that, the name of your friend. The name of your friend is like we are the text that we will be getting would be happy birthday to you. Then the name of your friend, that is display. Now name of your friend at the meantime is display. Why? Because we don't know what the user has entered. So display is the name of your friend for the moment, which we are fetching with the help of this intent, get string extra, this key, and this was being sent by this main activities intent. Now guys, do add one more thing in this main activity, that is we have written intent I is equal to new intent, source and destination. Do write start activity over here, all of you. Start activity and then give this parameter I. I forgot to add this start activity and give the parameter I. Please do add this, otherwise it won't be working properly. The code need to be like intent I is equal to new intent, source activity, destination activity, I dot put extra, key value pairs, then start activity. Add this inside your code. Start activity. So now we have received the text over here, we have displayed the text over here, and we have written everything that was required for our application. Fine. So I hope that all of you were able to follow me up to this point of time. If any one of you is facing any error, do refer to the code. I'm showing it to you. Do refer to the code. If you're not understanding anything or if you have any logical or conceptual doubt, do ask it, because the code is completed and we are entirely ready to run our application now. So it's a done from Ritik, it's a done from Vishakha. I want to see more done, because if you are not If you are not giving the confirmation, I will be assuming that you are stuck at any point of time and you were not able to understand it. We have so many participants. What about the rest? Done for Hardik, done for Ashutosh, done for Ajay, Keshav, Vinay. Fine. So guys, now for running the application, you have two options available to you. One could be you can run your application in your physical device. Another one could be that you can run the application in your AVD manager. So AVD manager stands for Android Virtual Device. AVD manager will be providing you with a mobile device inside your Android Studio only. So I will be recommending for those folks who do have 4 GB RAM in their system, I will be recommending them to make use of their physical device like their mobile phones. And for those who have sufficient amount of RAM and sufficient amount of configuration, do make use of this AVD. Now let me tell you, for those who want to try this AVD, let me tell you how you can set up the AVD. Go inside this AVD manager. Then you do have the names, right? Names available. I have my AVD already set up over here. What you can do, you can go inside the AVD manager. After that, there must be an option like create virtual device. Click on this create virtual device, and then you would be able to see multiple options: Pixel, XL, Nexus, Nexus 1, Galaxy Nexus. So all these are the options for the virtual device that you will be having. So the virtual device that I have set up for myself is Pixel 3a. You can set up, you can choose any device of your choice over here. Fine. After selecting the device, let's suppose you have selected this Pixel 4. Click on this next button. You would be able to get that AVD manager. But it's recommended to use it only if you have more than 4 GB of RAM in your system. Fine. So I have connected my mobile phone over here. Now for those who have less than equal to or less than 4 GB of RAM and less configuration facilities available, you can do one thing. You can make use of your physical device. Now in order to make use of your physical device, you need one tool, that is the data cable. Pick up your data cable and connect your laptop with the data cable. After that, you need to perform 2 or 3 steps. That is, you need to open your developers option inside your mobile phone. And in order to open developers option, you need to go inside your settings, enable USB debugging. Yes. Go inside settings. Go inside additional settings of your mobile phone and then enable the developers option. Along with developers option, you need to enable the USB debugging also. Now as I have my app already installed in my phone, you can set your physical device like this. I have my device name over here. You can enable your developers option by going into settings, additional settings, and then enabling the developers option. After doing that thing successfully, you would be able to get the name of your application over name of your physical device over here. So I am all ready to run the application. So running it and installing it in my mobile phone because my device is already set up over here. So I'm running it inside my device. We'll be showing the functionality of the application to you. For those who are using emulator, you can choose the AVD manager, whatever you have selected. For me, it was Pixel. So you can choose your respective AVD manager, and then you can run your emulator as well, your AVD manager. Now my app is being successfully installed in my mobile phone. Let me show it to you. You can see that here is my Celebrate app inside my mobile phone, and this is the interface that we have created. It is telling us to enter the name of our friend, the center it, let's call it Simran. Now, after entering the name of your friend, you can click on this wish button. Now, as I said, that two things would be performed when this wish button would be clicked, according to the function that we do have over here. Two things would be performed. What is the first one? The toast would appear, because we have added this code of toast. And next thing is, you will be navigating to this next screen activity, next activity with this greeting card. Fine. So let's click on this wish button. Yes. So you can see that this toast has appeared, button is clicked, and happy birthday to you, Simran, is appearing over here. Fine. So I hope that all of you were able to achieve the same thing. Randeep is telling something. My laptop has 12 GB RAM and is running on Intel. Okay. Yes, obviously, if you are having Randeep, if you are having 12 GB RAM, then obviously you would be able to run emulator. No issues would be there. So now, guys, just a final confirmation from your side that how many of you were able to run the application, right? Right, run in the comment box. Right, run. And this is the final confirmation, and I will be telling the management team to mark the attendance on the basis of the those people who are writing run in the comment section. Only those people would be considered for the attendance who will be writing run in the comment section, because I will be assuming that only those people were able to successfully launch their application in their mobile phone or in their emulator. So it can see it from Mohammed, Hardik, Vinay, Ritesh. I want new names this time. Run, Ahmed, Nawal, Ayushi. Ayushi is telling how to download it on my phone. Please explain again. So for downloading it into your mobile phone, you can you need to do this. I am showing you. Go into the settings. Then go into this additional setting. Then you would be able to see this developers option. I hope that you are like able to follow me, Ayushi. You can go inside this developers option, and then I have my developers option being enabled over here. You can see. So you need to like make it true for the toggle button developers option, as well as go at the bottom, and you need to make this USB debugging enabled also, right? So for those who are trying to install it in their mobile phone, install the application in their mobile phone, go into settings, additional settings, developers option, enable the developers option, and USB debugging. Fine. Then you would be able to do it. All right. Mohammed is asking how to run it on laptop. So Mohammed, I said that in order to run it in your laptop, you need to set the AVD manager, Android virtual device, the emulator, right? Ashutosh, you would be able to find the recording. It would be provided to you by the management team. Fine. All right. So just a confirmation that this was all for today, and tomorrow it is going to be more exciting because we will be jumping straight into Firebase, right? And whatever we have learned today, it would be directly implemented into tomorrow's session. I am not going to repeat it because I'm assuming that all of you are able to get it. So we'll be working more fastly and we'll be working more efficiently. And for tomorrow's session, it is gonna be a blast. Trust me. If you are able to understand Firebase, you would be able to make tons of projects according to any given problem statement. So it is going to be a blast. Do be present tomorrow, right at 6 p.m. again, and we will be implementing the same thing, making use of Firebase real-time database, where the data would be stored in the Firebase. I'm like revealing the secret, but let me do it. So we will be making use of Firebase real-time database for the tomorrow's session, and it is going to be very, very exciting, where we will be able to store the data into our Firebase application and fetch it all in real time. Fine. So that was pretty much about the session, and we would be meeting again tomorrow at the same time, like 6 p.m. and we'll be making our another exciting application that would be integrated with Firebase real-time database. Okay, I have seen an interesting question over here. That is which constraint, which layout is better, linear or constraint? So Naval, according to me, I believe that constraint layout is something which is being used more in industry level of applications, because constraint layout is something which is very, very rigid. In case of linear layout, there are certain limitations, but in case of constraint layout, there is no limitation. You can arrange the items in whatever manner you want to do. In linear, there are some limitations. Like if you have seen that website called Printest, in Printest there is a grid system. The elements are aligned up and down in a random order. So you would be able to achieve such kind of functionality with the help of constraint layout only. This is something that won't be possible with the help of linear layout. Karthik is asking, are you in future going to do a workshop, or you yes, Karthik, I will be looking forward to do a workshop on Jetpack Compose. It's very interesting. I will be looking forward to it. Thanks a lot, Naval. Thanks a lot. This session was being recorded by the management team, and it would be provided to you in the group.
Okay. Tisha?
Yes.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. So I guess that's all from your end, right?
Yes. This was all from my end. Now you can handle the queries, whatever is there about the
sure.
stuff like recording and all.
Okay.